One of the blessings for me of retirement, and there have been many, has been being able to accompany my wife Rachel on her annual trips to Tanzania and getting more involved in the work of our poverty relief charity, Weston Turville Wells for Tanzania, that she has been running pretty much single-handedly for the last 20 years while I've been working busily. The charity supports Maasai communities that lie around the rim of the Ngorongoro crater in northern Tanzania and on the plains to the south, an area which has in recent times suffered acute and persistent droughts. For me, visiting these communities has been a wonderfully joyous experience, an opportunity for me to experience firsthand the gratitude and the love being expressed by so many people for Rachel, for all that she has done for them. Many years ago now, we started off by building some shallow wells, hence the name of the charity. But since then, our work has diversified in response to the priorities of the people. And in essence, it boils down to two particular areas. The first is providing microfinance loans for women. And here we've been strongly supported by an American charity called WMI, Women's Microfinance Initiative. The money that they have provided on an annual basis, we are able then to channel into the women's Vikoba groups. Vikoba stands for Village Community Bank. And these are grassroots organizations, part savings and loans, part social security and health insurance. And the loans that the women receive are really small. It's about $50 per person. But with that amount of money, it's enough to kickstart their businesses and to give them the foundation for future security and financial independence. And our staff manage the training and the administration of these loan programs. The second very important area is providing funding for girls to encourage them to continue into secondary education and to college. Without that, there is a high chance of early marriage and early pregnancy, which will blight their future educational prospects and also risk damaging their health. This support is now more urgent than ever, thanks to the additional financial pressures being felt by families because of the combination of the cost of living crisis and the climate crisis. In our visit this year, we had lots and lots of wonderful encounters with individuals and groups who have benefited from the work of the charity. Like these children who are receiving free school meals. Like this lady, Elizabeth, who many years ago now received funding from us to go to college, and she's now a successful teacher in her own right. Like Joseph, a head teacher at a village school, we provided him in the past with a laptop and a printer and a solar panel to keep them running, and desks for the children, and now funding for an additional teacher. Like the loan ladies who've received gas stoves so that they don't have to waste time gathering firewood and don't have to inhale all that smoke. And like the many women's groups where we have acted as a conduit for WMI loans. But with all the celebration comes some major challenges. Wherever we went this year, we met communities who were always introducing us to girls who were in need of funding to continue with their education. And this was something that we hadn't budgeted for, but we knew that we had to act in faith and with urgency, because if we didn't support them, there was a high chance that they would be married off. And the results were wonderful. These girls here have just heard that they are getting funding to continue with their education. Some of the cases were particularly challenging, like this severely handicapped girl called Neighbour, who was not thriving within the mainstream educational system. We were able to provide a wheelchair for her, and through our contacts, to put her into a specialist school that could look after her particular needs. None of all that is possible without the help and support of people like you. So now I'm going to show you a 5-minute video, which is a record of the visit that we made in January and February this year.
So we do a number of issues, and the main one is really women economic empowerment, where we run a loan hub program funded by WT, but also WMI and Maasai partners. Me and Mary and others, we are really working on the ground with the women to try to transform their livelihood in terms of doing business.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But through this kind of help and support, we are revolutionizing the way we do our activities.
Now women can send children to school through this project. Also, they can afford food for their families, and they can pay for the hospitals for their family members, so they benefit a lot.
Through this loan, the women are really shine because they are now capable of buying their own needs. And the happiness you can witness outside, because when the kids have food, whole community entirely feel happy.
We say thank you for Rachel for empower the woman. The woman now change their life.
So this is one of the loan beneficiaries. Yeah. This is her business. She's now this gas cylinder.
Oh, this is one of the gas cylinders we paid for.
So you can sell more, and then you create more customer because they know that you are always available.
That's
fantastic.
fantastic.
So not spend much of the time fighting for the fire.
They are keeping bees in their society because the environment is good for keeping bees. And after they harvest the honey, there are other waste products from bees. They used to make the candles, the washing soap, the glycerin, and the oil.
We have more than 100 groups. So we need more support because we need more development, and we want to improve more and more. To start small business, to overcome early marriage, circumcision, to make development in our family. We want to change our life.
The challenges that we will have in our village is exactly drought. We do not have rain for more than 8 months since May last year. The other problems is animals dying, like no water for them, no grasses.
Because of that situation, because of the challenge of drought, some parents failed to send their children to school, especially the girls. It means that they may be forced to early marriages, and they are forced to early pregnancies. So that's why we are very much requesting that the donors support this so that we can rescue the lives of these children, especially the girls.
in the name of Lord.
I would like to thank everybody, our friends. Very grateful for you. You did a lot to us through WTWT because the community were living under a shadow of poverty. But through your efforts, the community now see the great and bright future.
I would like to thank you, the supporters, for giving us the project, and we really say thank you so much, and may God bless you again and again, and we will open our hands to receive anything that will give to us. Thank you so much.
Why do we do it? Why do we put in all this time and effort for people so many thousands of miles away? Well, I think the answer lies in our two readings from Scripture that we heard earlier. First of all, the one from Mark's Gospel, which is for me possibly one of the most important passages in the whole of the New Testament. It's a theme very familiar to me from the many Christian Aid talks which I do. I think the message takes us really to the heart of Jesus' teaching. And it starts off with a scribe asking Jesus this question: which commandment is the first of all? And very swiftly and directly, Jesus replies, the first is, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And the second is this: you shall love your neighbour as yourself. Who is our neighbour? Well, I'd like to suggest that it's not just the folk who live next door, but our brothers and sisters in need, wherever they may be. Yes, says the scribe in response to Jesus' teaching. Yes, loving God with all your heart, soul, mind and strength, and loving your neighbour as yourself is far more important than any number of burnt offerings and sacrifices. It's a message that follows very closely the teachings of the Old Testament prophet Micah, who speaks eloquently and passionately to the people of ancient Israel, calling for a faith that is honest and sincere, just and true. What does the Lord want of me, he asks. Does he want thousands of rams and 10,000s of rivers of olive oil? Does he want the sacrifice of my firstborn child for the sins of my soul? No, mortal. This is what the Lord wants of you. He wants you to live in love and faith and truth with him, with creation, and with all humanity. To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Amen.
Just one or two notices. Those of you who regularly go to Sages, a reminder that this month, on Friday, the group's actually meeting here. As I said in the prayers, it's Ellie and Remco's daughter's funeral, and they want to be able to use the Christian Centre. So Sages are meeting here 10:50? 10:15. Next, this afternoon, there are teas happening. So if you're not watching tennis or just trying to keep cool, come and have tea here. I think Natalie's going to set up in church as well as outside, but do come along to that. Next Sunday, we've got our barbecue at 12 o'clock. There are sheets to sign up at the back. or hopefully you've been able to use the form that's been on the update. So it would be lovely to have as many people coming together to sort of celebrate as we head into our summer series and time where some people go off, but just to be together and celebrate. And from 2 weeks' time, from the 26th, we have 6 weeks of 10 o'clock service. And this year it's been called, This is His Story, This is Our Story, This is Our Song. And the reason sort of given that title to it is each week someone in the ministry team will be interviewing somebody that you may know well or not so well, but people who sit in the congregation or take part in other parts of our church life. So it's going to be a sort of interview and sharing of faith stories during that. So that's the story part of it. We're asking each person who's going to be interviewed to choose a song. I haven't said this to Edward, but if you was something that you particularly like and would like to be sung during the summer, then just drop me a note and we'll look at it when we're doing our music choosing. We always try and make the 10 o'clock service a mixture of more traditional and the more modern music that we do. So an opportunity to say, please could we sing to do that.
Love travels farther than the road. Water rises, futures grow. Hand in hand with hearts made wide, we walk in mercy side by side. Act with justice, love with grace. Hope is shining in every face. Near or distant, all belong. Together we are growing strong. Together we are growing strong.